Welcome to another episode of the NLW podcast. Yep, still going with it. It's only been, 2 weeks that I've been doing this for, and already today, again, like the motivation to kind of film or do anything was just through the floor. I'm always really tired on a Monday morning. No idea why. Usually I'm working Sunday nights, so that's why. But you know what? It's something fun, and you guys have really been digging the past couple of episodes, and can I also just say thank you so much for all of your questions of the weeks that you've been sending in. I will answer one a week, and I'll try and get to as many of them as I possibly can, so thank you for your patience there. In this video, we're going to be talking about All Elite Wrestling and the debut of Keith Lee and Jay White. We're also going to be talking about the upcoming Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, as well as some recent figure news from the world of Mattel and Jazzwares. We've recently seen some new images come up on Ringside, so I'll talk about those, and I'll also give you some NLW updates and give you my wrestler and match of the week, as well as, a couple of bonus things in addition to that. But before we get really too far into it, I want to send a massive thank you and a shout out to Unforgiving Steel. You can follow them on Instagram. They make custom rings. So Unforgiving Steel was the person who made my 6-sided ring for the Metal Wrestling. And today they sent me a couple of turnbuckle pads because they forgot to put them in the first time. So I'm grateful for that. And they've also sent me some barbed wire tables, which look so cool, like and they kind of snap in the middle, cable ties, and they're selling them on their Facebook page, I believe, or their eBay. So if you want to have some barbed wire tables of your own, or some barbed wire accessories, what have you, or even have your own custom ring made, go to Unforgiving Steel on Instagram to have a look. They've got some really good deals on there, so do check them out. Very grateful that they were, their customer service is great as well, and good prices. So yeah, big ups. And also big shout out as well to Wrestlistic. I've recently got a Raw, a new era Red Crowd background that I'm going to be using for metal. So again, Wrestlistic doing fantastic work, has done work for the likes of GCW and Stage Creator, and they've helped NLW immensely. So again, Wrestlistic, you can go to their website, wrestlistic.com, and get all sorts of crowd printouts for good prices as well. And again, this isn't like paid endorsement or anything. This is just two guys who I think are doing really good work for the figure community, and I want you guys to check them out and maybe purchase some of their work. Aside from that, we'll go into the first kind of segment of this podcast today and what I'm working on. So this week, I've been just grinding, trying to get NLW 101 done, and now finally I have done so. I probably got it completed around Friday, so editing and commentary, all that put together, so that was good. And I'm really happy with how it turned out, and actually very happy with the response to it. It was one of my longest episodes to date, so clocking in at like 50 minutes of action. I didn't know how long it was going to be whilst I was filming it, so I'm happy that it's kind of a meaty episode and it really covers a lot of ground and storylines. If you want to be recapped on the storylines, I have put out a video last week on the main channel where it says everything you need to know before NLW 101, and it just goes over all the key storylines and stuff. And I will be doing one for Metal Wrestling as well as, title history videos and a couple of other suggestions. I'll shout those people out actually, because there were a couple of cool suggestions up that I thought were quite interesting. J-Man Lon, can you maybe do a video of the entire championship history for all the titles? And yeah, I would like to, especially on this channel, perhaps. And WrestleMania Freak Show asked as well, can you do a video on the history of NLW and Metal's rivalry from the beginning? And, I would like to do that in future, maybe nearer the time of WrestleMania when that kind of storyline really picks up. And those aren't questions of the week, those are just video suggestions that came through, and I just wanted to give them credit for those because I do want to make those videos very soon, and I'm sure they'd be beneficial to you because, obviously I'm going to keep up with the storylines because I'm invested in it. I'm the guy kind of making it all, so it's easy for me to remember stuff, but I want to make sure that storylines don't become too confusing. I keep them simple enough that they're easy to understand, but not too simple that they're, just boring and redundant. But I will make a video on the entire history of NLW versus Metal Wrestling. In terms of what else I'm working on, I'm also working on making a couple of mini exclusives, so after the show special type videos. So at the end of NLW 101, not really a spoiler, but yeah, just the aftermath of the ministry segment there and the kind of fallout from that, as well as another kind of guest who comes out, and I'll get to that in, when that video comes out. As for other stuff, I'm at the moment planning on starting a show called NLW 24/7 Fight Club. You remember Cringe God on Patreon recently, and thank you as well to everyone who entered that competition to have their own NLW 24/7 Supercard made for the $50 tier, and Cringe God won. So their show will be being made very soon, including the build to it and everything like that, and it's going to come after New Year's Revolution, which is out this Wednesday. But I'm looking forward to filming that Fight Club show. It's all blood sport matches, which will be a challenge, and they've really been helpful in writing it. So again, big thank you to Cringe God, because it's gotten me excited. I've been making a couple of graphics. For those of you listening on the Patreon feed, you'll know I've recently put up one of the graphics for that event, taking inspiration. Well, I say taking inspiration, not kind of outright stealing GCW's Fight Club formula for that like match card template style. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to making that. Aside from that, I don't know really what else I'm planning on filming. I've kind of wanted to take a little bit of a break after NLW 101 because it took up a lot of my time. But I do want to get on the grind and start making NLW 102 soon, as well as starting to make Metal Wrestling episodes as well. I've just got to make a couple of arena tweaks, and also, of course, get the Patreon requests filmed and out. I'm also working on making Points of Authority, another NLW 24/7 show, which if you're on the Patreon feed, you'll know about coming up. I'm hoping to get that out in the next week on Patreon. As for when it's going to be out on YouTube, Lord knows, it'll probably be out, I don't know, in like a month or two. So do look out for that coming soon. And aside from that, again, just trying to work on the Patreon requests and trying to get through those as quickly as possible, but not compromising on quality. I've written a lot of those matches, and yeah, it's just a case of me to release them. There's like 8 or 9 unreleased matches that I've just got to edit and put out. So yeah, just thank you for your patience as well if you're on the Patreon feed. And yeah, like my Patreon is popping off at the moment. So thank you guys for continually supporting that, and I'll do my best to give you Patreon shouts-outs later on in this video. But that's really all I'm working on at the moment. Now we'll move on to kind of figure news. And so in terms of what figures I've recently been picking up, I recently got the Adam Cole Elite Camo, the Chase figure, because I did pre-order the other one. I'll get to that in a moment. But I got the Stone Cold Ultimate Edition in that package, as well as the Rey Mysterio Elite 92. And there was a package I ordered with a couple of Elite 92 bits in it. However, I also pre-ordered the Undertaker figure, and if you've ordered it, you'll know it's been pushed back to April, so I've had to cancel that. Although, a pretty pricey order it was, so I'm glad to have that money back in my pocket. But yeah, it's a shame that we have to wait a little bit longer for the Undertaker, but oh well, it is what it is, I suppose. And I'll probably get the Adam Cole, the standard edition, when he comes out in the UK. As for other figures I picked up this week, I've recently bought Reckoning, because I want to bolster the women's division on NLW at the moment. So I might want to bring in Mia Yim. And I might even do a head swap on that Reckoning just to have the actual Mia Yim basic head figure on that. And I've also ordered Dakota Kai, the new Elite from the Royal Rumble, as well as Earthquake. So yeah, a bunch of figures coming soon. And also I've just got shipping for my AEW stage. So I'm really looking forward to getting that through, because I've been thinking all week how I can use it and how I can kind of set it up, because of the people that I've seen take pictures with it so far, it just looks so cool. And yeah, there's all sorts of tweaks and stuff I want to do to it, so that's that. In terms of other figure news, figures that have recently been kind of shown off, I'll go onto Ringside and have a look at this sort of news that's coming out here, if I can just come up. So yeah, we've got Mr. T Ultimate Edition, which looks pretty sick, as well as a Hulk Hogan Ultimate Edition with the classic WWF Championship belt, which is really cool. We've also got this Davey Boy Smith, which looks really sick. Aside from the head scan, right, I like this Bret Hart, but the head is horrible. What is going on with it? This Elite 94, it's got his... they can't ever quite get it right. It's so weird. Maybe they don't let him do the head scan, but it's so weird. I don't know. Probably need to get like a custom Bret Hart head made or print out, because that's just not going to do. And we also have the Mace figure from Retribution. Not too sure if I'll get that one or not. We'll see. And the Stephanie McMahon, which, you know what, honestly, pretty cool. I like that it's a cloth shirt, and I like the head scan on it, and it's good to have more Attitude Era influenced in there. We've also got a couple of basics too, including a new Omos, which does what it says on the tin. It's a basic figure, but still pretty cool. As well as the Ruthless Aggression line. Oh my god, didn't even bother to mention about that. The Ruthless Aggression line looks amazing. That HBK from WrestleMania 23, a must get, as well as that Batista and Brock Lesnar, man. So cool. And the Undisputed title as well. And even this Legends series that they've just brought out looks really sick. Like the Luger, there's even more. Yeah, you got the Lex Luger, the Kane as well, the X-Pac, Stacy Keibler. Just so many, cool figures. Although how hard it will be, I should say, to get your hands on them, only time will tell with that. And I've also, as you would have seen yesterday on this channel, got the Dark Order figures, so they're going to be used moving forward. And you might have seen Evil Uno on NLW 101. And here's a rumor killer. I know it might be a bit of a spoiler, but not really. Brody Lee isn't the higher power. I feel like that's too obvious, and also I don't know if I want to add him back just yet, but I would like to do that at some point. But yeah, Brody Lee's not the higher power. But as for who it is, you'll have to wait and see. Moving on as we progress in this storyline, but I just wanted to put that kind of to bed because I don't want people being too disappointed, really. And that's really it for figure news. A lot of cool stuff coming up on the horizon. In terms of wrestling news, we've recently had AEW Dynamite, and the Face of the Revolution ladder match is coming up, and the first name announced for that match is the limitless Keith Lee. Yes, Keith Lee is finally in AEW, coming in, not really a squash, but really manhandling Isaiah Cassidy in a fantastic match. Just, it's obvious that Keith Lee's been away from the ring for a while, and, he'll get more, I'm sure he'll get more into, ring shape as time progresses, because you've got to remember, he's been on his honeymoon, as well as not wrestling for 3 months, and on top of, the various health issues he had last year. So to come back from all of that and have an insane debut is just, makes me so happy for him, and you can see the smile on his face that he was, enjoying himself, and I'm just wishing for the best for Keith Lee. And I know I've seen a couple of people talk about the bloated roster on AEW and how they're signing too many people. But honestly, I think they're signing the right people. That's the main thing. They're not just signing anyone at the moment, in my opinion at least. You might disagree with that, but I feel like, Keith Lee is a must-get just because of the way he is, the way he acts. His charisma is off the charts. And people are going to get lost in the shuffle, but to be honest, I think they've got a good balance going on at the moment. And this past Dynamite this week, I was saying last week how I was kind of tired of wrestling. I was kind of getting out of it a little bit, but this week really dragged me back in. This Dynamite was one of the best ones in ages, and I would recommend you all checking it out. The main event was fantastic as well, and it was just an absolutely brutal affair. Hangman Page and Lance Archer ending with a buckshot over the referee through 2 tables to Lance Archer. Archer looked great. I want to see Archer do more, but I understand the kind of position he's in that company. But again, Hangman, damn, I know some people have said he's had an underwhelming title reign, but I just don't see it, man. He's having every title defense he's had has been fantastic. And, the Bryan Danielson series, the Archer series, are now going in against Adam Cole at Revolution. Don't know how or where that match is going to go. I would think that Hangman's going to win, but you never know, because obviously they're setting up Adam Cole versus Omega once Omega's back and healthy, but that's sick. And speaking of Adam Cole, we saw him try and bring in Jay White to AEW, so again, the possibilities now with Jay White there to do a couple of one-off appearances. I don't expect him to stay for too long, because obviously he's got his New Japan and his Impact commitments as well, but it's just something that's, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does, because he's got a match against Beretta next week, which should be sick. But yeah, they're really knocking it out of the park in my opinion at least. And Rampage as well was pretty decent this week too, so no complaints there. And as for WWE, what's really going on in WWE that is kind of note? Not really a lot. I mean, the kind of Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair stuff is pottering on. You got the Brock and Roman stuff pottering on as well in the background. And yeah, it's not really something that I'm keeping up with. I will be putting out an Elimination Chamber prediction video, but it's not going to be based on anything that I've been watching on the program. It's just purely going to be, predictions as to what they're thinking and a fantasy-based type thing, because the fantasy booking is what I enjoy, as I said a couple of weeks ago. but I will not be watching Elimination Chamber, especially because it's from Saudi Arabia, and you know how that whole deal is. But the card looks pretty good, to be honest. But then again, I said that for the Royal Rumble, and the Royal Rumble sucked. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I can't see myself watching WrestleMania this year either. Just nothing really interesting going on, in my opinion at least. Just seems kind of same old, really. I think they need a kick in the arse, to be honest, to just get them through. And yeah, I don't know. It's some weird decisions, really, in the world of wrestling on that front. But yeah, who knows? Who knows, really? As for Impact Wrestling, the Impact ROH invasion is still going on. You've also got Matt Cardona becoming the NWA champion, so we'll see what he does with that belt, whether he brings it to GCW as well, and what happens there, we will see. But again, like Revolution coming up looks really exciting. Likewise, there is some stuff, you know, intriguing about WrestleMania, but again, like, it's more seeing if it's a success or not. That's really what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in watching the program at all at the moment. And again, I just don't have time, to be honest. I barely have the time to watch Dynamite. So yeah, we'll see what happens in terms of wrestling news moving forward. Is it time for Match and Wrestler of the Week? Yeah, it is. So for Match of the Week, I was it was a toss-up between two matches, the Texas Death Match and Roppongi Vice versus the Young Bucks. And ultimately, I'm going to go with Roppongi Vice versus the Young Bucks. I've seen their matches before in New Japan, but this one again brought me back into Rampage, so you know it had that going for it. And I loved the spot early on in the match where the Young Bucks were pretending to run away, and then they super kicked Beretta and Romero on the ramp, and then ran back to get the count out win. And it was just a high octane, fun tag team match. Only giving it the edge over the Texas Death Match, but you know, I'd say they're probably tied, in all honesty, for my favourite matches of the week. In terms of my wrestler of the week, probably, again, I would say Hangman Page, because of his performance against Lance Archer. If that's a compromise for not getting match of the week, I would say Hangman Page, because he's proven to be a really solid babyface champion, and he's overcoming all these obstacles and all these different scenarios. It's really simply booked, but it's really effective. And shouts out to Keith Lee and actually Isaiah Cassidy for making big Keith Lee look like a huge star. More from Keith Lee, more from everyone on this program. I'm loving it at the moment. A real change of pace from the past couple of weeks of Dynamite, which have been lackluster in my opinion, but they've really stepped up their game this week, and I'm hoping that they can kind of continue that momentum heading in to Revolution. So we've got that out of the way, and we also have it's a kind of a shorter episode this week, I think, because not really a lot to talk about, aside from the wrestling figure news. If you do have any suggestions for me to, like segments you want me to cover, or if you want me to talk about anything particular on the podcast that I might have forgotten to talk about, hit me up in those comments and stuff. In terms of NLW updates, we'll do NLW updates, Patreon shout out, and question of the week. So NLW updates first. This week, this Wednesday, it's New Year's Revolution. Then this Saturday will be an off-the-air NLW exclusive. Monday, I'm thinking of doing an Austin versus Triple H sit-down interview type thing, where it kind of goes over the NLW versus Metal rivalry from the start, but in kind of like an interview format. But I will do a separate video to explain it in the near future. As for when NLW 102 will be out, hopefully this time next month. I'm trying to make it so that there aren't as many matches on that show, so it can be more storyline based as I, kind of catch up on things a little bit. As for Patreon, what's coming up soon, Points of Authority will be uploaded soon, and NLW 24/7 Backlash as well, but that's not going to be out on YouTube for a long time, but it will be up on Patreon hopefully within this month. As for other videos on this channel, you've got the Elimination Chamber predictions coming this month, and I'm also working on another episode of Turbo with Kushida versus Tetsuya Naito. That'll come out in a couple of weeks as well. And in terms of what's coming up on this channel as well, I'm not too sure. I haven't really checked the schedule. It's really like a case-by-case basis thing. I will put up a review of the AEW stage once I get it in, because it has been shipped, and I'll do like a hauls video this coming week. And as for Raw and SmackDown rebooked, I really don't know when I'm going to have the time to film new episodes. I do have a couple in the bank, but I'm going to I'll release them soon, but they are kind of outdated because a lot of the roster, like Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, those guys, they have been released, so it's a little bit out of date. So I think I will release them. Let me know if you do want me to release them, because I'm not too sure at the moment. But I would like to start making those episodes again and make them more readily available here on the second channel. As for any other videos, really, Metal Wrestling, I'm thinking in my head to get it out in like a month and a half. So have it come out on like 2nd of April, maybe. That's what I'm thinking at the moment, if not sooner or later. I don't know, give or take a week or two, you know? But that's really what's been going through my mind, at least recently. As for, you know, channel videos and things, I'm trying to spread out the episodes, because obviously if I put out a 50-minute episode a week, it's going to burn me out, and I don't want to do that. So I do hope you're enjoying the kind of little videos here and there. And I might even do like a one-off match or two, like I did with Metal the First Dance in future, and also more house shows coming up as well. But we've got my description of my recent video here. Let me do my Patreon shout-out. So, thank you to Clarence Morris III, John Cringegod, Remy Montoya, Anthony Hill, Brady Babcock, Brandon Furman, Casey Hellschool, Cupid, Devin Downling, Flynn Lamkin, Cameron Joyner, PTW Animations, Ryan McCarthy, ES Productions, and Outros World. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you'd like to support the channel as well, head over to my Patreon, get the podcast a week early and available in download form, as well as early access to NLW 24/7 shows, and also exclusive behind-the-scenes looks at what I'm working on, graphics, what have you. Now we'll move on to question of the week. And because I did a question from Cringe God last week, I will do more of your questions as well. Like, you can leave more than one. I just want to try and give the benefit to as many people as possible. Have we got another question? We'll try and get one from... Okay, Devin Dowling. Devin Dowling has asked one of the... Oh, I'll answer one of these. How did you end up running a figure fed? That's a pretty good question. I would say... it was more fantasy booking based at the start. So what happened was, when I started making NLW, and actually funny enough, I found an old DVD of the fed that I had before NLW, which was EFW, but it was its first show, so it was called like Mayhem instead of NLW Live. And I've got that, and I want to show you guys that, because I've shown you a little bit of it. But yeah, how I started running the figure fed, inspiration from guys like Steve-O, LKS, Angus the Cat, you know, those stop motion animations from WWE figures, and that inspired me to want to start my own show and animation channel. And I used to do kind of single animations here and there, but they weren't any good. So when I was like 13, I decided I wanted to do it, and I set up on the floor and just really started. But what really motivated me to start the figure fed, aside from the YouTube feds, also JWS as well, loved their episodes that they put out. We had what was I saying? I had, like those notebooks that I showed off last year, I think, in a video. The notebooks full of wrestling storylines with my wrestling figures, because I used to play with them as a kid. And it's kind of what NLW is now, except I'm not bashing the figures together anymore. At least they're going to last a bit longer. So I had my booking based on who I had in my figure collection, and then I would make the shows and I'd make stages and stuff. And I wanted to emulate that and then actually put it out on YouTube. So I got going, and obviously, you know, when you start out, you're bad at it. It's just how it is. And then you get better with practice. And yeah, 10 years later, I'm still here. And the NLW actually celebrates its 10-year anniversary in June, which is crazy. So that's how I started out. It was more an avenue for fantasy booking, because I also used to love the story designer on SmackDown vs. Raw and the GM modes. So those combined with the animation channels, combined with other stop motion and just wrestling figures in general, motivated me to start a figure fed, and that's why I started it. So yeah, thank you for your question, Devin Downlin. I will answer more questions in the coming weeks. Again, it's just one a week at this point, so do bear with me. I will try and answer your questions best I can. I'll answer as many as I can in the next few weeks. So that's almost done for the podcast. Like I said, do check out New Year's Revolution this week for NLW 24/7, because NLW 24/7 this year in particular, I'm going to go all out of it and do some even crazier stuff. So it's something to check out. As well as that, NLW will have an exclusive this Saturday, and a couple of other exclusive videos coming your way very, very soon. And NLW 102 will hopefully be up next month, and I'm going to try and hit the ground running for WrestleMania. So that is it for this podcast. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys next week.